It's MLB playoff time, and we have a $50 World Series contest. Let's go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we are here to talk some Major League Baseball playoffs. That's right, the season lasts forever, but now it's time, baby, for some meaningful baseball. There is nothing better than playoff baseball, in my opinion. So this is going to be a lot of fun. In the NFL, we just came off another winning week. We are now up 6.32 units. Go check out the Monday Night Football preview with some takeaways and the recap and everything else. It was a lot of fun. Check that out now. Quick stat, real quick, for the 2022 MLB playoff games, the under went 42, 34, and 4. So 52.5% to the under. Not sure that really helps you, but just wanted to point that out. Reminder for wild card round also. Every series, the first round is a 3-game series, and all three of those games, if it goes three, it will be at the team with the better seed. That's right. They do not go back and forth. None of that. They play at one stadium the entire time, which is kind of crazy. Best of 3 series in the first round, so it could get wild. We got 2 teams with the bye. We'll get into all that. You heard in the cold intro, $50 cash giveaway. You guys are ready for the rules. Here we go. You have to put down below, leave a comment, and you have to like the video and be a subscriber. But you must put the 2 teams that will be battling it out for the World Series. Make sure it's an AL team and an NL team, obviously. Otherwise, that would be weird. And then below that or next to it, pick the champion. And next to that, put how many games they win the World Series in that series. The World Series is the best of 7 series. So anywhere from 4 to 7 games is what you need to put. And that number of games is only used as a tiebreaker. So put the 2 teams that are going to be in the World Series, the team that is in the World Series, and the amount of games. If you nail both teams and the winner, then you have a chance to win $50. If we need a tiebreaker, we will use the games, but it is $50, guys. It's going to be huge. This is just the best way to end an MLB season that's been up and down. It's been absolutely crazy. So leave your comment below. This is going to be a lot of fun. Let's see who wins. Obviously, the voting will end once the playoffs start. So you have until I think it's Tuesday when they start. So that's what we got going on. In this video, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to preview and give you any best bets or leans in every series in the first round, that wild card round. And then after, I'm going to give you my 2 best bets for the overall playoffs in general. We'll end it with the bets recap like we always do. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's talk some baseball and let's get some more freaking winners. And speaking of winners, by the way, I had Acuna to win the NL MVP if you watched our preseason MLB video. I have the Braves to win the World Series before that started. And then the midseason All-Star break video, I had Blake Snell to win the Cy Young. Some huge winners were given out. Let's see if we can make that happen again in this video. So here we go. Before we take a look at the Blue Jays and Twins series, let's take a peek at that playoff bracket. All right, there it is, guys. As you can see, the Blue Jays at the Twins, these things moved all the way to the last inning of the last game. It was wild. Blue Jays are now the 6th seed going to Minnesota. That's right. There will be no first round games in Toronto. It's all in Minnesota. And then we got the Texas Rangers who lost out on the division in the last game of the year because the stupid Mariners, who were playing for nothing, then decided to win and beat them and knock them out. Now the Astros won the freaking division again. How fun is that? But the Rangers at the Tampa Bay Rays, so we're going to dive into that series. National League, the Diamondbacks hold on for the 6th seed. They go to Milwaukee, and that's going to be a decent series too. And then we got the Miami Marlins. What a shocker. The 5 seed going to Philadelphia, and they have to beat the defending NL champion Phillies. We got Dodgers, Braves, Orioles, and the Houston Astros as the 4 best teams with a bye in the first round. That is the playoff bracket we're looking at. Now let's dive in to the Blue Jays and Twins. All right, we got the Blue Jays going to Minnesota, the 6th seed versus the 3 seed. But in all honesty, we know the Twins are the 3 seed because they're in the AL Central. So head-to-head record this year, 3-3. So it was even. If you don't know already, the Twins have lost 18 straight playoff games. I could be wrong now that I think about it. It might be 19. But they have lost 18 straight playoff games, and 13 of those were to the Yankees. They don't have to worry about them anymore, that's for sure. So it is like, just imagine being a Minnesota fan and you get the Vikings and then you have the Twins who just can't win even one playoff game. So we'll see. Home and away record. I'm going to mention these in every series because I think it's important considering every single game is in one stadium. So the Twins were 47-34 at home. The Jays 46-35 on the road. Toronto was actually a little bit better team on the road than they were at Rogers Center. So, them being on the road might not be that big of a deal. I already mentioned this, the best of three series. So if we look at the rotation real quick in these, the Minnesota Twins will put out Pablo Lopez, Sonny Gray, and Joe Ryan. I don't know exactly what order they're doing it yet, um, but if you look at a three-game series, guys, that's pretty impressive. That's a great trio of pitchers. And the Blue Jays are going to be putting out Kevin Gausman, Jose Barrios, and Chris Bassett. And Chris Bassett, since it is on the road, he has a 4.5 ERA on the road compared to 2.86 at home. So he might be a game three guy. Again, I'm doing this video like right when the season ended, so I haven't seen when every single game and what pitcher's throwing. I'm losing my voice. But if you look at the rotation, the advantage is to the Twins. I mean, we're Lopez, Sonny Gray, and Joe Ryan have been solid this year. I think that's a tough out, to be honest with you, with that pitching staff. Injuries, which is I'm only mentioning this, especially this series, because of the Twins. Twins have Carlos Correa, Royce Lewis, and Byron Buxton all hurt right now, but it sounds like, and I would check it out, that they're all going to be back, which would be absolutely humongous. Royce Lewis was swinging a hot bat. And actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, Byron Buxton might not be back for the first round, but Carlos Correa and Royce Lewis are looking good, and they're going to need them. They need those guys in the lineup. Otherwise, the lineup's a little watered down, in my opinion. The offense this series: Blue Jays eighth WRC plus, which is kind of an overall way to look at your offense. That's what they were eighth in this season. Twins sixth WRC plus. The Twins have more power. They're fourth in ISO power, but 20th in batting average. We know that. We talked about it before. They kind of rely on the long ball, to be honest with you. Jays have not had as much power as we all thought. They finished 18th in ISO power, 11th in OPS. I mean, to be honest, it's pretty even. I'm shocked because the Blue Jays you thought would have a much better offense. I might lean to the Twins, but the Jays are more consistent and they don't just rely on a long ball. So it's kind of even, in my opinion, on the offense. Bullpen, Blue Jays, ERA of 3.67, which is the eighth best in the league. The Twins had an ERA of 3.96. It was looking pretty bad for the Twins there for a while, but that was good for 15th. And then all the other home runs given up by bullpen and strikeout percentage are all pretty even in the bullpen. So maybe slight edge to Toronto. Well, definitely edge to Toronto in the bullpen. They have a good closer, obviously, as well. So my prediction, best bet, and that's right, I do have a best bet. You guys aren't going to like it because I know I have a lot of Blue Jay fans, but I am taking the Twins to win this series at minus 125. They play much better at home. I know the Blue Jays are a decent road team, but the Twins do play good at home, and they get to play all two or three games, depending on what you think of it or how long it's going to go. But the big three in the rotation get me, guys. I mean, if we have kind of an even offense and you have a rotation of Pablo Lopez, Sonny Gray, and Joe Ryan, I'm probably going to take that, to be honest. Kevin Gausman is a stud. There's no joke about him. I just don't trust Jose Barrios and Chris Bassett on the road as much. So I'm going to I'm going to bet the Twins money line to win at minus 125. They just got to win 2 out of 3. Getting Royce Lewis and Carlos Correa back is huge. It'd be nice if they had Buxton, but he might be back for the second round if they make that. So that's my best bet in the series. Number one is the Twins to win it. Now let's go talk some Rangers and Rays. All right, this next series is between the Texas Rangers and the Tampa Bay Rays. And real quick, I wanted to mention that last series, the winner plays the Houston Astros. The winner of this series between the Rangers and Rays will play the Baltimore Orioles, the 1 seed. So, Rangers and Rays, let's go head to head. Rangers won 4 out of the 6 games this year. Home and away record. Now this is gonna be helpful for Tampa Bay fans. The Rays have the best home record in the league, 53 and 28 at home. Texas on the road, they were averages can be 40 and 41. It just wasn't pretty, guys. I think they have a huge advantage. All 3 games are in that terrible dome in Tampa Bay. Rangers rotation. This is why a little bit. Nathan Eovaldi, Jordan Montgomery, and Dane Dunning. Looks like Max Scherzer may come out of the pen if he's healthy enough to. So he's not going to be probably in the rotation for this series. But Eovaldi's pitched well. Montgomery's had a solid season too. These aren't guys that are just going to overwhelm you or do anything like that. So, but that's the Rangers rotation, and I don't think it compares to the Rays, to be honest, because that starts out with Tyler Glasnow. He has a 3.5 ERA, but he has the ability, and he has done it in the playoffs before, to absolutely miss a ton of bats. He can strike out a lot of guys, as you know. And Zach Eflin and Aaron Savali, both pitchers that have been, especially Eflin, have been much better at home, and they both get a pitcher home, or at least one of them, unless they win it in 2 games. But I like Glasnow, Eflin, and Savali a little bit better than Eovaldi, Montgomery, and Dunning, that's for sure. So I think the advantage in the rotation definitely goes to the Rays. Offense this season overall, the Rays second best WRC plus. That's right, second best offense in the league. I know a lot of that was at the beginning of the season, but they've started to swing it pretty well again. I know they don't have Wander Franco. Rangers fourth best WRC plus. We got 2 teams that that have some offense. It might be a decent little series to look at some overs, depending on the pitching matchup and what we get. But both are top 5 in ISO power. I mean, they can both hit it. We all know that. And so that's going to be a fun series if you like offense. The bullpen. This is a big advantage to the Rays also. Rays 3.82 ERA, the 10th best ERA in the league. The Rangers 4.81, the 24th best. We know the Rangers bullpen is just flat out bad. And I think if you got a bad bullpen and just decent starting pitching, I don't think that's what you need. I think you need to have the pitching in the playoffs. And it's not like, well, they can just out crush everybody. Well, they can't. The Rays have an offense that's almost as good, if not better. So my prediction in this series, I don't have a best bet, but I do have a lean. It's the Rays to win this series. You could probably tell by how I was talking. There's a couple factors. They're so dominant at home. They got the better starting pitcher, in my opinion, the better ace in Tyler Glasnow. But I like Eflin and Savali too. So I just think, the Rangers. I think they're a little let down, to be honest with you. They could have won the AL West with one more win against a team in the Mariners that didn't have anything to play for. They lost and lost the division, which means they lost the bye, and now they also have to go on the road. I mean, just a complete change of what they were hoping to get. So I think a little bit of a letdown. I know the Rays have had a ton of injuries. Man, imagine if they had like Springs and Rasmussen and another huge pitcher that I can't even think of. Their main, Shane McClanahan. They're all hurt, but they still just keep reloading. So this Rays team, I think, will win the series. Should be a fun one to watch, but that's just a lean. I do not have a best bet. So, all right, let's take a look at the National League in the first series between the D-backs and the Brewers. All right, let's take a look at this series now in Milwaukee. The head-to-head this year, the D-backs won 4 of the 6 games between the Brewers and them. Home and away record. The Brewers are 49-32, very good in Milwaukee, and the D-backs, kind of like the Rangers, are just average on the road, 41-40 on the road. And they also just got swept by the Astros at home to end the season. Rotation-wise, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, and Brandon Pfaadt, maybe, as the third starter for the D-backs. I mean, it's a two-headed race, or a two-head horse. I don't know how you say it. I can't even think right now, guys. But it's Gallen and Kelly. If they go to Game 3, they're in trouble. They're absolutely in trouble because Brandon Pfaadt is not very good, and no other starter is that good. You're not going to throw Zach Davies. I know that. And then the Brewers, Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta. It is night and day between these rotations, and Gallen and Kelly haven't been as dominant as they were just the first half of the year. So I definitely give the advantage to Milwaukee there. On the offense side, not as much offense in this series. Arizona, 18th WRC plus this season. And I just don't know if the rookie Corbin Carroll can carry this offense. I know they got Christian Walker. They got some other guys, but this is first playoff. So you're counting on some young guys. Milwaukee, 23rd best WRC plus. They were swinging it better the last month of the year, but they're not known for the offense. They win with pitching. Offense, I give the slight edge to Arizona, definitely. Bullpens, Arizona, 18th in ERA this year at 4.22. Brewers, third best ERA at 3.43. The Brewers hang their hat on starting pitching and bullpen. And I think when you're playing at home where you play well and you got good pitching, that can go a long way. So my best bet in this game, you probably already know, but it's a little bit different. I'm not taking them just to win this series because the odds were too high. I am taking the Brewers minus 1.5 games at plus 200 on DraftKings. That's right. That means they got to win the first 2 games, and that's it. They got to sweep them 2-0. They cannot let them win. I already mentioned a huge starting pitcher advantage, in my opinion. Woodruff is a stud, especially at home. Corbin Burns, he's been there, done that. He is a superstar. I know he's not quite as dominant as he was in years past, but he is still a very good pitcher. And the D-backs, not just being average on the road, they don't have a lot of experience. They weren't really expected to be in this case. I mean, maybe some people picked them to win the wild card, but I just think they're a little young. The Brewers are more experienced. They have the better pitching. They're at home where they play much better. So just give me the more experienced team and the better pitch team to win 2-0. Give me the Brewers minus 1.5 at plus 200. And now that final wild card round series is the Marlins and the Phillies. All right, we got 2 NL East foes. That's right. They played 13 times. The Marlins won 7 of the 13. 7-6, they won the head-to-head. Home and away records, Phillies 49-32 at home. Marlins 38-42 on the road. They were under 500. The Phillies were a very good team at home. We know what the Phillies did last year. They were the 6th seed, and they made it all the way to the World Series before losing to the Astros. But let's break down this series. The Marlins, they don't have Sandy Alcantara. Obviously, he's hurt. It's going to be Braxton Garrett, Jesus Luzardo, and maybe Edward Cabrera is all I can think of. It's okay. It's a couple lefties, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But the Phillies, Zach Wheeler, best pitcher in the series, obviously, by far. Aaron Nola. If you get Aaron Nola's good stuff, which is usually more at home, then he has a chance to dominate a team, that's for sure. And then maybe Taijuan Walker, Ranger Suarez. I'm not sure how they're going to do Game 3. But I give the advantage to the Phillies in the rotation, that's for sure. Phillies 11th in WRC plus on offense. Marlins were 19th. There's a big difference in power. Philly sixth in ISO power, and Miami was 26th. We know Miami does not have a lot of power at all. Bullpen also goes to the Phillies. 3.6 ERA, which is the seventh best in the league. Marlins 4.34 for 20th best in the major leagues. So I expected better for the Marlins bullpen this year, but advantage to the Phillies in the bullpen. So I have a best bet in this game. You probably know where I'm going. You got the experienced Phillies team who just went to the World Series last year. This is not going to be too big of a stage for them. You have a younger Marlins team who is not used to this stage, especially with pitchers like Braxton Garrett and Jesus Luzardo. They're not exactly guys that just carry you through the playoffs. So I am going to take, kind of like last series, the Phillies minus 1.5 games at plus 180. I think they take care of business, guys. Citizens Bank Park in Philly, it is going to be absolutely rocking. If you saw the playoffs there last year, they went absolutely nuts. They love their sports teams in Philly, a little too much sometimes. But I just think they're going to be absolutely dominating the series. I know they lost. They were lost the series 7-6, but playoffs are a different animal. They got the better pitcher. I think Wheeler comes out and just dominates this offense in game one, and then Nola finishes it off in game two. So give me the Phillies minus 1.5 games as my final series best bet. Now, let's talk some overall playoff bets. All right, we got a couple more best bets for the MLB playoffs, but before we do, obviously that second round, the ALDS, we didn't talk about teams like the Astros who are waiting to play, and then you got the Orioles who won over 100 games this year. You know, the Astros are going to play the winner of the Twins and Blue Jays. The Astros don't have as dominant of pitching as they've had in years past, as you saw all season long. But they're going to be going with Verlander, Valdez, and Javier. A couple of those guys have just kind of struggled, to be honest with you, up and down all season long. They do have. There's no one more with more experience right now than the Astros. Obviously, they've been to a few World Series. They won it last year. If it is the Twins, you know they may be overpowered, but they still have the pitching advantage. So it should be an interesting series. And then over in the other one, we got the Orioles. The Orioles could be playing the Rays. At least in my opinion, I think it'll be the Rays. Orioles won that series 8-5 if it is the Rays. They probably go Kyle Bradish, who's been solid all season long. Maybe Grayson Rodriguez with his current form, and John Means maybe with Gibson and Kramer kind of behind that. I'm not sure how they're going to throw the game three, but Oriole Park, guys, I bet you it is going to be absolutely rocking. Just absolutely rocking. It's going to be crazy. That's going to be a hard series for me to predict right now. We'll see what happens in the second round. But the Orioles offense was 10th, the Rays was second. I mean, it would be a fun series no matter what. Rangers, if they play, it's going to be a lot of offense also. So either way, I think it's going to be good. But National League, Dodgers and Braves, guys. I mean, it is what it is. We know about them, and I'm going to talk about them here right now. So here we go. My first best bet. I found this on DraftKings. I like it. The National League to win the World Series. It's at minus 125. That means I'm getting the Braves. I'm getting the Dodgers. I'm getting the defending NL champs in the Phillies. I'm getting all those teams. The AL is so wide open. If you just take the best team in the AL, which is the Orioles, they are extremely young. I'm not saying they can't win, but usually you don't have that young of players do that well, make it to their first playoffs, and just win the whole thing. So I love the odds of minus 125. Getting let's we can be honest. I mean, the best two teams are the Braves and the Dodgers. I mean, they just are. So I'm getting the two best teams. Also, if the Braves end up playing the Dodgers in the NLCS, the odds for the National League to win is going to be like skyrocket. It's probably going to be like minus 400. So I might as well take it now because I think that's what it's going to be anyways. Obviously you got Tampa Bay Rays, Baltimore, and the Astros who've been inconsistent, Rangers, Twins. I don't know if any of those teams really strike fear in you to beat a team like the Braves or the Dodgers or even the Phillies because they're a good team too. So I love that bet. National League to win the World Series at minus 125. Second bet, it's the Rays to win the American League. I know it's crazy. They had a lot of injuries, but honestly, this is a little bit of a value pick too. Plus 450 are the odds on this one on DraftKings. They have the great trio, like we already talked about, the Eflin, Savali, and then the ace Tyler Glasnow. They have the experience. They've done this before. I just like the Rays. I think they got a chance. I think people are kind of counting them out. They've started to hit the ball a lot better towards the end of the season again. And so give me the Rays to win the American League plus 450. It's so wide open that, taking the favorite or chalk for the American League just does not seem right, to be honest with you. So those are my two best bets. If you make me pick a winner, well, my preseason winner was the Atlanta Braves. I forgot the exact odds. I'll have to go back and check, but I can't back off that now. The Braves have so much hitting. Their pitching does worry me a little bit, but give me the Braves. Take home the trophy again as the World Series champs. So that's what we got. That was a lot of fun. Let's take a look at that bets recap. All right, we got 5 best bets for the MLB playoffs, starting out with those Twinkies to win the series against the Blue Jays. Probably not a popular pick, but the books have it at minus 125 for a reason. You got a trio of good starting pitchers. I know they've lost a million in a row, but they just have to win at some point, right? I'm probably going to watch them lose and say, why did I ever back this team again? And then the second one, Brewers minus 1.5. That means they got to win the series, 2 games to 0 over the D-backs. That's at plus 200. And then you got the Phillies minus 1.5 games to sweep the Miami Marlins at plus 180. To be honest with you guys, bet number 2 and 3. You hit one of those two and you're profitable. So that's all we need. I'll take two though. And then the fourth bet, Rays to win the American League at plus 450. And then the National League to win the World Series at minus 125 on DraftKings. Those are the best bets. Like I said earlier, the Braves to win the World Series was my pick before the season. Just like Acuna and Blake Snell, we had some winners. We also had some duds, like the White Sox when I picked them to win the division. That was stupid. But other than that, that was a lot of fun. It's time for Major League Baseball playoffs. $50 giveaway. Leave that comment below. Who's going to be playing in the World Series? Who's going to win it? And in how many games in that World Series are they going to win it? The games are just the tiebreaker. So let's have some fun with it. Let's enjoy some playoff baseball. Thanks for the support as always. Smash that like button. We'll talk to you guys later.